It's a Winging It F1 podcast, everybody. Welcome to the Hungary Grand Prix preview. Will there be fireworks like there were in Silverstone last time? We don't know, but we are here for it. And who is we? I hear you ask. It's Winging It F1 podcast with me, Adam Dickinson, and Nigel Chu, and Freddie Coates. How are you both?
Great. Very great. Looking forward to the Magyar Nagy ditch.
Mm-hmm. There's a massive thunderstorm outside. I've been doing that all day, and I've got hay fever that's really affecting my left eye. So,
classic Nigel complaining. Yeah. I'm all right. Yeah. Having a good day.
Yeah, classic July for me.
my clutch was being annoying because the brakes on my car were a bit weird, so I had to locked. So I had to push the clutch a lot, and then I thought the clutch burned, but it's fine in the end. But anyway, we're good. So my car's got hay fever in a way.
On that note, I haven't.
Adam, do you have anything to complain about? Oh, okay.
Well, yeah, but how long have we got? Probably not very much. But someone who does have things to complain about is Christian Horner, Karen Horner, who has been successful in getting a review of Hamilton's penalty at Silverstone, and it will take place on the Thursday before the Hungarian Grand Prix. I think there'll be three team personnel present from Mercedes and Red Bull, 3 each. And yeah, so firstly, this is the big news. What do you both think of it?
We should be precise on that it's a request for a review. So anyone can do this for any penalty. They can say, oh, we'd like to. Yeah, we can do it. We say, oh, this penalty within 14 days of it being issued. Then they can do that and just be like, oh, cool. We want to petition to review this. And so basically this can get thrown out, but they've got to prove they've got substantial new evidence that will, I think, change the opinion. Is it really change the result of the investigation? But because my thoughts on this are that because they're essentially agreeing with the steward's outcome of Hamilton deserved to be penalised. So surely it will just get thrown out because they say, well, you're reviewing something that we did that you want it to be what happened, if that makes sense. Like you just back up the original argument.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people that are saying, "Oh, why don't you just move on and stuff or whatever?" But I think it's worth a go because the worst thing that happens is nothing changes. So if they do have some new evidence, some new facts or whatever, and they can get a harsher penalty, whatever that is, maybe an extra point on Hamilton's super license, then it's more than worth it because why not do it, right? I think every team would do this. If it was Mercedes, I think they would probably try to get that tiny advantage as well. And sport is all about fine margins, especially F1, where we're talking tenths, hundredths, thousandths, and here we're talking about penalties. And I think Red Bull, what they're probably most unhappy with is probably the damage or the cost of the damage to the car, which is like 1.7 million euros, something like that. And with the budget cap, that's going to really hurt them. So maybe they're looking also for some compensation or some finance back for an accident, which the stewards have said wasn't their fault. And that's the first big crash we've seen this year with the budget cap, where the driver has not been at fault and they've got a massively damaged car. So maybe Red Bull wants something there, which I think is a good idea, I think.
It's a tricky grey area to go down, though, really. If you start then sort of offering teams pay other teams for these kind of things, it's a really difficult thing because we already have, every podcast seems to have a debate about penalties every week. And if that then becomes a financial matter with the same sporadic nature of F1 stewarding, if it can be done in a very cut and dry way, then that would be fine. But it's impossible to do that with Formula One, which I don't know. I look at that with a bit of sort of hesitance because it's going to make it very, very difficult to actually do anything of the sort of say, right, you take this money and give it to them, because there's so many things that are different to that. Like Verstappen was 6 meters or something away from hitting a Tech Pro barrier. It was not that big a difference that meant that he hit the tyre barrier, not the tech pro barrier, and those kind of things. So it's like it's such a marginal kind of thing for how the crash happens for that kind of stuff.
That the stewards have already said that it's Hamilton's fault. So then that's what Red Bull can kind of go with. Whereas, say, Imola, when there was a big crash with Bottas and Russell, the stewards said it was a racing incident, didn't they? So you couldn't really go with it. So, and that's the only other major accident, I think, this year. So this is the first kind of instance where someone is at fault. Well, yeah, someone's being at fault to cause like a big collision for someone else. So I think it's going to be. I think this could have big implications if something does happen, if the stewards do go with that line.
If so, not for this incident though. That would have to be ratified by regulations going way up to the World Motorsport Council. That maybe something could get put in immediately for Spa for that, but it'd be very unlikely that something would happen with this crash. Maybe down the line once they've drawn up a set of guidelines for it, not even guidelines, a set of strict regulations, because when finance is involved, you need strict regulations.
Agreed.
I think, that's it. It just seems like, I see what you're saying, Nigel, that there's no kind of disadvantage to Red Bull for not doing it, apart from ridicule on Twitter, but that's going to happen anyway, regardless. But yeah, I think, F1. Is it a contact sport? Like, is it, can you kind of expect that? I feel like, I don't know, if you thought that Hamilton intentionally crashed into him, I think there would be grounds there for some compensation or whatever, and
to be fair, they do
talk about. But if it is a not racing incident in that sense, but in a kind of non-deliberate incident, then that it feels like that, as you say, is going down quite a tricky path for F1 going forward. So I think it'll be interesting. I don't know how much we'll hear of kind of what goes on in there and the outcome, but depending on how much we do, I think that will be interesting. And kind of getting what they think about it going forwards, and like you say, whether they do draw up any new legislation or whatever. I think, I don't know, it could very easily be a non-story, or it could be quite far-reaching consequences.
I think it's definitely, I agree with Nigel, it's definitely the right thing to protest it, because that's just really kind of a normal thing with penalties. It's just arguing with the referee, isn't it? It's that kind of thing. And it's just in Formula One, it goes through a much more sort of strict appeal process with laws and stuff like that, just because it's harder to do stuff on the field, if you will. And it's the right thing to do to protest it, definitely, because like you say, the worst that can happen is Hamilton gets his 10-second penalty revoked, and he ends up, they add 10 seconds on to his race, that kind of thing. I mean, that would be unprecedented if that happens, but it doesn't change the result to anyone. And it's fine to do it. It happens a lot. Look at the amount of times Renault protested Racing Point last year, post race. That it would be a formality for them to do that, and it's ordinary. It's ordinary, to be honest. I think the whole thing, and it's been blown out of proportion because of Red Bull's reaction at Silverstone.
Yeah, but they have successfully done this before within the last year, and it looks like there's a hurricane going over Wigan by the looks of Nigel's connection. But he has written a piece on it, and Freddie, you've looked at several incidences where this has happened. So do you want to talk through the Austria one last year?
I'll go for it. Because Nigel is currently in the middle of Gale Force 9 or something. So in Austria last year, first race of the season, it was straight back to normal after lockdown. Lewis Hamilton didn't slow down under yellow flags, basically, in qualifying. And the stewards deemed no further action because they didn't see any reason. They basically thought that he wouldn't have been able to see the yellow flags because of how close he was to the incident, which was Bottas going onto the grass and securing himself pole position. That's a different story. And Red Bull then used the 360-degree camera that was sort of downloaded after the race, basically after the session, that wasn't available to the stewards at the time, and said, well, look at this. You can see a yellow flag on a board over there. And so he can't claim he didn't see it because there's one to see. So that means he broke the rules. And they were like, oh, well, yes. And a 3 grid place penalty was given to Hamilton at about half an hour before the race. it's a very inconsequential thing in comparison to a huge 10-second penalty and crash that's a race from 2 weeks ago in comparison to a qualifying session where you can clearly see a board and that board wasn't seen in the debate, and it's going completely against the decision of the stewards, basically. But yeah, protests work is the main point with that. And if Red Bull have, in recent history, a year ago, succeeded in a protest, why can't they succeed now, to be fair? And yeah, may as well try again. But it will be a non-event and nothing will happen because it will get thrown out because it just agrees with the steward's original decision.
Yeah.
If my internet's all right,
it's not all right, mate.
Wait, talk again. Just like say a sentence.
I don't think you can hear to say a sentence.
I didn't.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's like really. It's like a series of stills. It's like a slideshow of Nigel. It's just like.
It's not what the viewers or listeners want to hear or watch.
I mean, that was alright.
Your sound quality is
not
fantastic.
much I can do
now.
about a live thunderstorm.
No, to be fair, the sound's alright.
Hopefully there'll be a lightning strike and you have like a massive surge of electricity.
I think it's all right now, actually.
Yeah,
since I've been talking.
So
what was your point, Freddie? I'm just going to disagree with you.
Protest the right idea because they succeeded with the 3-place grid penalty last year, and yeah, I mean, I agree. I agreed with you. I was already agreeing with you. I was basically saying, yeah, Nigel's right. The worst that could happen is what? Nothing. So may as well go ahead with it.
Yeah, and I think, I don't know if you heard this before because of my internet, but like Alfa Romeo, they did it earlier this year as well. And it happens all the time, like you said, for decades, even back to the 90s, 80s, 70s with like Hunt and Lauda. Something happened there when I think Hunt like lost his British Grand Prix win or something. Then he got reinstated and went back and forth.
Spanish Grand Prix because the width of the rear wing was slightly different or something. And they were like, well, no, it's fine.
So
whatever.
So this is nothing new in Formula One. So I don't really get people who say, "Oh, why don't you just let it go or whatever?"
Yeah.
Well, this is F1. This is sport. You want to take, it's like when footballers dive or not dive when they get touched and then roll over from 50 meters. It's exactly
showing
like
how's that, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So
yeah,
a bit longer and a bit more formal. Is that kind of
I think
how's that via email?
I think I get why people are saying like, why don't you move on? It's the same why people say don't dive in football. Why do you dive in football when you don't go down to that contact? And I get where those people are coming from in terms of it's not necessarily kind of
fun to watch.
I think you do just want people to like move on and focus on the racing, but on the flip side, it's their championship that's on the line, and they've had a lot of years of hurt, and now they've got this chance, so they are going to take every opportunity they have to try and make Mercedes pay or put Mercedes at a disadvantage. So I do see both sides, but like you say, it's Red Bull's decision and it's pretty sound logic behind it.
It would be more silly if they didn't do it, in my opinion.
Yeah, if they didn't do it for the public pressure, then that would just be stupid. But
if look, if Red Bull get a decent result on Sunday, then it's going to be water on the bridge. It's that kind of thing. It's just because we're at the start of the next race weekend, that kind of thing.
Nearly as much water has just gone under Nigel's bridge. That's not quite.
Bridge.
But yeah, just that was an awful hurricane thunderstorm related sentence. So just to finish up on this, unless either of you got anything else to say, and it is Christian Horner.
I've nothing to respond to that.
Is Christian Horner a Karen?
Oh yeah, but you've got to be if you're a boss of a sports team. I think we basically cleared that up. You've got to be sort of the whole there's a difference.
Look at Jose Mourinho.
Jose Mourinho doesn't have the energy to be a Karen. I think the annoying bit with Christian Horner is the whole thing that it's been. If Max were to be in Lewis's position, Max would be doing the best thing in the world. and we'd be, look how good he is and everything. He's putting himself in that situation. But now that it's been done against his driver, it's like a personal sin against him and that kind of thing. So there is a level of sort of, you can take a step back and have some common sense about the comments you're making, because not 3 months ago he was saying, wow, look at Verstappen putting himself in the position where Lewis has to get out of the way. Now Lewis has done that and Max didn't get out of the way, so arguably he didn't, we've had this conversation, but there's so much to that, and it's just kind of like, well, you can't have your cake and eat it and then have another cake and eat it, and then I don't know, like you can't have a whole afternoon tea about it.
The thing for me is, though, Total Wolf is exactly the same.
Like,
they're both as bad as each other. But people go for Horner more, it seems. Oh, yeah, of course. But they're both just as bad for me.
Yeah, I think there's been... I've not seen any specifically from Toto, but there's been a fair few of those going around. So, yeah, I think there was... Horner talking about Gasly, and he kind of said he'd rather his drivers go for it and crash than be slow and get the car home. There was another, like you say, where I think it was Barcelona, where he said he was really pleased that Max did that, and it was a good job Lewis got out of the way, because otherwise he would have been in the wall. And then on the flip side, you've got Lewis from 2018, I think, saying it's not right that Vettel gets a 5-second penalty and then goes on and wins the race or whatever. So there's kind of, there's been lots of old quotes resurfacing, but we'll just have to wait and see, and then nothing happens, and then we can get on with the racing. But if it does happen, then that'll be interesting as well, and that'll add more spice going into the weekend as well for especially Mercedes. If there is some consequence to Hamilton, then they will be even more determined than ever.
Nothing goes anyone's way in sport ever. It's not supposed to. How it works.
No. But yes, Hamilton is, I think, going for the record of the most wins at a circuit, outright record. It will be his 9th if he does win this weekend at Hungary. So at the moment, off the top of my head, he's tied. Is it Schumacher at Imola Schumacher at France
Magny-Cours,
and Hamilton at Britain now. But he has the chance to break that this weekend. So we shall see. But he shall be racing against Verstappen, who might have a dodgy engine.
Win.
Yes, as well. Yes. Which would be quite nice, because Hungary's always been like him, especially at McLaren, actually. He's got half of those wins in his McLaren days, which is slightly unusual. I don't think he has that many tracks. But he will be racing against Verstappen, who has been given the all clear to have the engine that was involved in the crash at Silverstone. And Nigel, do you want to say anything about that, or you do? But I'm just like introducing you in a funky way. Go.
Yeah, I don't want to say anything, Adam. Thanks very much. No, of course I do. I think it's... Well, obviously we don't know the details of it, but given how big the impact was from my outsider's point of view, I can't help but feel it's a small risk. Of course, Red Bull and Honda, they'll say, oh, it's not a risk, it'll all be good, but I just can't help but feel something is going to happen, and whether it will happen in a race, I don't know. But if it does, it will be very costly. So I think it's worth I would be more cautious. Take a grid penalty later in the season, perhaps at Monza when there's a sprint race, so you've got 2 races to come through the field, and give yourself an extra power unit just to be more careful rather than losing a potential win. If he's winning a race and then the engine goes, well, he's going to take a grid penalty and he's going to lose 25 points. So I would be more cautious, but that's just me.
I don't know. I think with the fact that it would be the 3rd power unit that they'd be moving on to, I feel like it's the right thing to do to give it a trial. To be honest, it's you can exercise caution, and who knows, maybe they will put the 3rd power unit in, but they should at least trial this one to see if it's working, particularly at a track like Hungary, where it's not going to be as power unit centric as most. I mean, modern Hungary is still requires a lot of power, as does any Formula One track, but it's
got to get up the hills.
Yeah, you got to drive, but it's like, may as well try it, and if it works, it works. It's like if the engine is going to be in a poor state, they won't be able to put it together into the car, will they? So that's naive of me, actually. That's wrong. But anyway, it's like you may as well try it, and I don't think
I don't think there's like bits. I don't think it's like
wouldn't fall
deformed.
apart.
I don't think there's
Yeah,
like
exactly.
bits sticking out of it at different angles, and they're just like trying to hammer it into the car. Like,
Honda know what they're doing, and
there's only 4 pistons, and 2 of them are just like spinning on the outside. Oh, it's fine. They'll go.
Yes, Honda know what they're doing, and I don't think it's too much a risk to try to make one of your only 3 engines work. To be honest, I mean, every time you drive the car, there's a risk it could blow up.
Yeah, but if they're going to use this second engine and carry on, they're going to have to use it for what, at least 4 or 5 more races, you'd think, to make it.
They would probably. I mean, they can if it works, they have to use it. They can sub in and out, can't they? That's what they normally do anyway. They normally would bring a new engine for Belgium and Monza, and they can sub this one in at different tracks if need be. It's just a case of keeping parts in the pool. It doesn't necessarily mean they're going to run this one in the race. They've only said they're going to run it in FP1.
I think they will run it in the race, though. But we'll see.
Right,
we'll see.
Cry if they retire.
I will.
Nigel will smile. If they retire, he will go, yes, I told you so, Christian. And you didn't heed my warning.
I don't think it's that bad to try and use the engine, to be honest. I think it's the right idea, in my opinion.
I think
it will only be bad if it goes wrong. Well, just like everything.
Yeah, but I don't think it's a thing you can just pretend to have an "I told you so" on, because it's kind of like it's the right thing for an F1 team to do, is to use everything they can do, and in a time where they could avoid a massive 20 plates grid penalty, basically starting from the back of the grid, then do that. Particularly when you're in a championship battle against someone who's not going to be starting in that. If this is an opportunity to trial an engine that could be a little bit damaged, or to essentially be throwing away a win with an engine penalty, do that. Don't basically throw away a win.
I think that's what's going to happen. I think they're going to trial it. They'll think it's fine, but in practice you only do 15, 20 laps anyway. I don't think that really pushes the engine enough. I think you only find out in the race situation.
I think, to be fair, more and more I'm kind of coming around to Nigel's side. I mean, obviously they'll have looked through it extensively, and they wouldn't be putting it in if they didn't think
Ferrari thought the same with Leclerc, didn't they? They thought his car was okay at Monaco,
and his drive shaft wasn't. His gearbox was fine. His engine was fine. His drive shaft was a little bit, and that's an entirely different part of that car.
But yeah, more and more I'm kind of coming around to Nigel a bit. I feel like, given you're potentially screwing up 2 races rather than definitely screwing up 1, I don't know, it's difficult. I can definitely see where you're coming from, and I'd be tempted to do the same. But that's probably why I'm not a F1 team boss. So, in fairness, So moving on to looking at the Grand Prix this weekend. After the review, there will be some racing. There will be practice sessions and the normal qualifying on the Saturday, and then the race. And how do we think the race is going to go? Do you think the dynamic of the title fight will have changed, or the way that Verstappen and Hamilton race each other will change, Nigel?
I think qualifying should go Verstappen's way, but I think the race could be quite close. I don't think it'll be like Austria where Verstappen utterly dominated, and obviously we don't know what would have happened in Silverstone, but I think it'll be. Yeah, it'll be definitely closer than Austria, I think. But I think the track probably suits Red Bull more, just because of it's all downforce in the middle and last sectors, and I think Red Bull have got a little bit more. So I think Red Bull have to be favourites, and it's just whether they can get Perez up there, who's struggled, and we'll probably talk about him in a big podcast in August, because they'll probably disappoint again. But yeah, I think Red Bull have to be favourites, 100%.
If he gets pole and wins this weekend, that podcast is going to be out the window, isn't it?
That's not going to happen.
Oh, it'll be more interesting.
That's true.
I agree with Nigel. I think Red Bull have got to be favourites. Look at their form in Austria, and the fact they're able to carry on a competitive form against Mercedes, even when they brought upgrades in Silverstone. You can't. I don't think you can really say anything other than Red Bull.
Yeah, it's just whether the Mercedes upgrades. I think this will be the true test of Mercedes' upgrades, because we've seen it at Silverstone, but that's a track they've always been good at. This is a track that should favour Red Bull. So if Mercedes are closer than we perhaps think, then it suggests the upgrades are pretty big, and if more than worked probably. So I
The
think this is
upgrades-
a big test.
The upgrades from Mercedes are allowing them to basically have more straight line speed to deal with the straight line speed the Red Bull can do. So I feel like, if anything, they should provide more sort of mechanical downforce strengthening, which might be very helpful in the Hungary ring, to be honest. So
You can run more wing, perhaps.
they can run more wing and have more wing in the corners, but have more speed on the straights. So they've gone for probably a more identical package to the one Red Bull have got. So it could be actually relatively similar if it works, which would be fun.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think Mercedes might kind of surprise with how the upgrades perform and how close they are. I think, I probably still see Verstappen taking pole, but I think in the race, I think Lewis will have a very good chance. But my kind of issue with that is I don't know how he's going to get past, because unless they can run strategy and get an undercut, I'm not really sure. Yeah. I don't see him overtake him in the first corner. I don't see him beating him off the line for starters. But then, I can already picture now Verstappen lining up with basically his car at a 45-degree angle pointing towards the pit wall when he's in his grid box, because that's, if he is in pole position on the outside, that's going to be where he's defending. He's going to come straight over to the inside and just block Hamilton off. So, I think I like Mercedes more here than I probably have for a while, bar at Silverstone. But it's just kind of, I don't know how they're going to be able to translate those improvements to a win, especially if they're not on pole in the first place.
Yeah, I think they have to be leading after lap, or Hamilton has to be leading after lap 1, or else I think he struggles then. But if he puts himself on the front row, the first 4 or 5 turns could be fireworks, and that turn 4, the fast left-hander, if they're side by side there, then I might shut my eyes.
I'm not. I'm going to watch it with so much detail so that I can prove to you how much of a racing incident it is. If you've got your eyes shut, then you can't even argue about it. I don't know. I feel like even if Verstappen's in the lead after lap 1, you can't discount Mercedes and Hamilton and that kind of. It was so hard to even think that like Verstappen was still when Verstappen was walking over it in Austria, it was like, what the hell's going on here? I still couldn't discount Mercedes then. Anything can happen. We've had some bonkers races at the Hungary ring, so who knows? Who knows
rain.
It could rain. It won't rain. It never rains. Don't be silly. It never rains. Even in Formula E, it never rains.
Although if it does rain, Verstappen needs to be careful on his way to the grid.
Yes, he does.
Installation lab.
Actually, he doesn't, because Red Bull can just deal with that. Probably Mercedes need to be careful because they can't deal with it in the same way Red Bull can't fix suspension just like that. It's like, sure, let's fix the suspension in 10 minutes. Why not?
If his engine blows up, then I don't think they'll be able to fix that.
But do you think that Verstappen will be? I don't think Hamilton will be racing any differently. But do you think Verstappen will be racing any differently given what happened at Silverstone? Because for all he and Red Bull can say it's Hamilton's fault and have been, then it doesn't help the fact that his lead has been absolutely slashed.
I reckon he'll give even less space.
Yeah, I don't think he'll back down at all. I think he'll just be more annoyed, and that will make him even more, I don't know, scary of a force this weekend, perhaps. I don't know.
Yeah, definitely. I agree.
I don't think anything will change. Yeah.
Why should it? It's got to be this far.
It literally is a war now between Mercedes and Red Bull, and it's brilliant for us. And I think they're going to collide again at some point. It could be this weekend. It could be in 5 races. But the way they're going, they're both so aggressive. I think it's inevitable that there will be more contact, and it could happen as early as Sunday.
You know what we were saying sort of around Monaco and Baku, France kind of time, was about, we're talking about how Max had got into Lewis's head and things like that. The Max was performing so cleanly and brilliantly, and that Lewis was doing these little mistakes and wasn't quite like Monaco. He wasn't able to sort of work the car in the way he needed to, and he was getting frustrated. I think arguably the ball is slightly more into Max with sort of Lewis and Toto in his head. He was doing a sim race this week just gone, a 24-hour sim race, and in it he was complaining about his cats running around because he was like, oh no, the cat's in the way, daddy, just like you do when you're chatting on a line kind of thing, like, oh no, the cat's in the way of the sim. Apparently that's a thing everyone does. And he was just complaining about like, oh, they're in the way, that kind of thing. And his friend goes, oh, what, the cat's called, says the name of the cat's daddy da. He goes, oh, they really annoy me. And then like basically goes, oh, they could call them Lewis and Toto. So it's like they're in his head. They're in his head now, Mercedes. They're in Max Verstappen's head. So if anyone's going to do anything rash, I think it's more likely to be Max now in the season than Lewis probably 4 or 5 races ago. So it'd be interesting to see how that momentum
time out, so it would even it up.
It'd be interesting to see how that momentum changes as it goes. I'm just ignoring you.
You've been doing that for a year. No, I think
I can kick him out the pool. It's going to be fun.
I can really see a crash happening this weekend. Like I
hope not.
Yeah, so do I. But I don't know. I wonder whether it will change kind of where they position the cars as well. Whether like Verstappen will be thinking more like, if we collide, I don't want to be the one skirting off into the gravel. I want to be the one that comes through and maybe gets a penalty afterwards or maybe doesn't. So
I think this means he'll defend earlier. Just defend a little bit earlier. Then if Hamilton can't get up the inside, then that's all he can do, really. And I don't know. It really just depends on how they race. I mean, it's track to track, corner to corner, isn't it? And it's just going to be whatever happens, and we don't know how it's going to be. But I can't see either of them changing an aggressive, wanting to win attitude they both have and both desire.
Yeah.
They're going to do whatever they can do, and they have been doing whatever they can do. So it will just stay at that for me.
Yeah.
Enough said.
Yeah, I think there'll be some change in the way he races, but I just can't kind of.
I can't. You'll back off more. You'll just be absolutely kind of. I won't let you pass at all. I'll be more willing to even more willing to be a block.
I think it will be that, but also kind of as I said, I think it will be kind of him thinking. I don't know. Maybe this is kind of getting too psychoanalytic, but I think he might be looking at it more about, if there is a crash, where will I go? I think, I do genuinely think that will be in his mind more now, of not wanting to come out worst if they do collide. But we will see.
Or making sure the other party comes out worst as well.
Well, yeah, exactly. But
a better crash.
So should we do some prediction for the pole and race winning podium now? Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
So
which one, Adam?
I'll go first. I'll go Verstappen pole.
Yes, I'm doing the same. Oh, I thought we were doing just pole.
Yes. Yeah, Hamilton win, Verstappen second, and Norris third.
Well, I think there'll be a Ferrari podium. I think Ferrari are going to cause some real problems for either Hamilton or Verstappen if they're on an off day. So I think Leclerc will be in third, and then it'll be Hamilton or Verstappen. Whoever leads after lap 1 will be first, I think.
I think Verstappen, Hamilton, Sainz podium. I think Verstappen on pole.
Yeah. And I think Ferrari, this is the thing, because if Ferrari are up there and Verstappen or Hamilton, they have a mistake in qualifying or they're not quite there, which would be rare and unusual, but it has happened, then rather than losing 7 points, if Ferrari are there, you might lose 15 points, which is a lot, which is twice as much, and that could be crucial at the end. So I think Ferrari can definitely give Perez and Bottas a bit some issues this weekend, and I think they'll be right there, which will be great to see.
I agree.
Yeah,
it'll be fun.
Going on to that, it kind of feels like there's not really been a battle for the third place of the Constructors' Championship, but they are only 15 points apart. So can you see Ferrari getting third in the Constructors by the end of the season?
I think we will. Yeah, I think there has been a battle though.
I agree. I think there's been a massive battle. I think it's been kind of quite obvious that they've been sort of talking about, like McLaren have definitely been focusing on Ferrari, and Ferrari have been focusing on McLaren. And if that means getting themselves in front of Mercedes or Red Bull, I think they're looking at that as like a way of getting a team in between them and their rival, in a way that, say, if Ferrari got ahead of Mercedes, Red Bull would be happy about that, because they, like Nigel says, it bolsters the gap to the car behind even more. I think really, I think you can't really call it for McLaren versus Ferrari. Ferrari have had sort of they've had better highs than McLaren in terms of performance. Obviously, 2 pole positions and Leclerc nearly winning in Silverstone, but there's been such a consistency from McLaren at every track.
Well, Norris.
Well, yeah. But still, Ricciardo's managed to scrape together quite a fair few points finishes, considering he's not been doing very well.
A few's the right word, yeah.
Yeah, but he's still what? Well, McLaren is still competing in that championship, so like it's not like it's no hope. So, and he's finished ahead of a Ferrari in Silverstone. He did what he had to do, really, there. So, yeah, I think there is a big fight there still, and I think the consistency of McLaren is really coming in clutch at the moment.
Yeah, see, Nigel, he's not so bad.
No,
Nigel thinks everyone's bad. Nigel won't ever praise anyone.
I think Ricciardo will be, well, McLaren's, whether to get third or not, will be dependent on Ricciardo, I think, because if he doesn't get his act together, I think Ferrari might, get third by quite a bit. But if they do, I think then there's going to be a real fight that will continue for quite a long time. So, pressure's on Ricciardo.
Do you think Ricciardo can take another step forward this weekend? Because it felt like he did have a bit of an improvement at Silverstone, and if he can get, I think we said it the last podcast or the post Silverstone podcast, that if he can kind of keep this momentum going into the summer break, that could kind of be a more significant shift. So do you think that's going to happen, or just it's going to be a kind of return to the status quo for the Discipline for most of the season?
It's been a bit sporadic, hasn't it? So I kind of feel like it's going to be wake up and see if it's good, frankly.
Right.
So I don't really know. I don't think you can call it.
I don't think he'll make Q3, and then he'll be stuck in traffic for the race. That's what I think.
On medium tyres.
Yeah. Didn't think of that, did you? Ha. Idiot.
Well, I think that's what I think. He won't make the top 10, and then he won't be able to get through the pack. That's Hope I'm wrong.
I hope you're wrong. I hope I'm wrong with it. I hope he does clearly do well.
I hope you're both wrong all the time.
When you want him to do badly.
I am the voice of reason on the podcast. Okay, I thought you were going to carry on there. But
then we do a reason.
Well, we're not going to say yes, you are we?
No, but I thought you might try and say
the voice of reason on the podcast proceeds to not speak and be unreasonable, I guess. I don't know.
Well, I don't know. I thought there'd be some pushbacks, but you're just so in awe of the authority and reason.
I am scared of you, Adam.
Awed into silence.
Oh yeah, I was so awed that I wanted to hear you speak, and you didn't get that. So you don't have the confidence in your voice of reason. So clearly you've disproved yourself.
So is there anyone else on the grid that you have confidence that will be worth looking out for this weekend?
I think Tsunoda might have a very good weekend.
You can't have a slow good weekend.
Well,
otherwise he'd be at the back.
I think he's going to get a top 7 or top 8, which would be very good. And I think he'll be near Gasly, if not matching him or slightly ahead, perhaps.
That's a fun guess.
Yeah.
I'm going to say Antonio Giovinazzi is going to have a good weekend.
Ooh, bold.
Well, look at his Monaco. He got to Q3, didn't he, in Monaco?
I don't think we did a pessimism stakes after the...
we haven't done a lot.
After the Silverstone.
Yeah, because there was a big incident that happened at the front.
Oh, yeah.
Did we not talk about Raikkonen and Perez bashing into each other?
We did, before we recorded, I think.
Oh, there we go.
Actually.
Yeah, we did an honorary pessimism stakes then.
So,
okay.
Anyway.
Yeah, well, we will see how
I'm having an optimism stakes, so...
No, it's not called that. At the end of the season, we can change the name, but, They were so pessimistic last year that they're stuck with it for the rest of this season. Anyway, yes, it will be interesting to see how it goes. And yeah, the battle at the front is really the one that everyone's got their eye on. But up and down the group, we shall see. But moving on to the battle that everyone really wants to see, which is the quiz. It's Freddie versus Nigel. And as in the theme of recent weeks, I've gone with a slightly different quiz, except this time, because it's the Olympics, and it's an Olympics X F1 quiz. X is in the letter X, like collaborating with rather than EX dash.
Something Nigel's just blatantly going to know more about than me.
I couldn't find many XF1 Olympians, unfortunately. But yeah, well, you know.
And there's just going to be questions about Alex Zanardi, bless him.
Oh, yeah.
Did he do Olympics?
Paralympics.
Yeah, he's a 3-time Paralympian gold medalist.
Oh,
and
bless.
Cycling.
Okay, so the first question. What Olympic sport did Lewis Hamilton do as a child?
Nigel.
Yes.
Got to be judo, because karate's not a Olympic sport. Yeah, judo.
Karate's an Olympic sport this year.
It is an Olympic sport this year.
Freddie, karate.
Well, I have messed up badly there.
He did it to defend himself because of quite sad stuff, basically, yeah.
There's some quote that, like, he got bullied at school, then he learned karate, and then, like, he didn't get bullied anymore, which, you know.
Well, if the BBC showed some karate, I would have got that point. So I'm going to blame BBC on that one.
Well, yeah, blame the BBC for the Eurosport and Discovery having more money than Classic. Pay your license fee.
I don't know if it's actually been on yet, to be honest. But yeah, maybe
good point.
Max Verstappen should have looked at that quote before he tried to bully Hamilton this season. Yeah,
it's all right, because
anyway,
Max Verstappen's a swimmer, so he'll do
swim away. What?
Yeah.
Yeah. You're going to have to be a swimmer to get downstairs after your rainstorm. So, anyway, yes, let's move on. Name one sport that Hungary has won a medal in so far.
Freddie.
At this Olympics. Yes.
Taekwondo.
Nigel.
No.
They've definitely
he didn't even wait for me to be told it was wrong.
They've definitely won a swimming medal.
Yes, they have. I think it was a bronze. I can't remember. I've closed the tab that I had it on.
Katinka Hosu.
Oh Lord!
Yeah, come on, Freddie.
I've got no other knowing who's Tuka Hosso. Sorry, Tuka Hosso, but
there's been a lot of swimming medals gone out so far. So, but I guess there's been a lot of Taekwondo ones go out as well. So decent.
Yeah.
Guess. Okay, so 1-1. Next question: which UK-based F1 team is closest to Tokyo?
Freddie.
Yeah.
Williams.
No.
Nigel.
Yeah.
It's 2 options.
And are you going to go for the right
one? Oh no, it's 3 options.
There's 8.
Oh.
7, 6.
No.
6 options.
Yeah.
I think I know the one I was
counting
going.
Haas's bases in the wherever it is in the US.
Plus, it's Banbury, mate.
I'm going with Haas.
Okay.
No.
Freddie, McLaren.
No.
Nigel.
Yeah.
Faenza.
That's not a UK-based team, mate.
Yeah.
UK-based. Oh,
that fire.
That's what I was thinking of.
Why do you say? You didn't even say a team. You said the name of the base. You said the name of
Cornwall.
I can't.
AlphaTauri's base.
Faenza Cornwall. Yeah, that's it.
Ruined this.
I'm trying to think of them because, so I said Williams, which is like Oxfordshire. I've said McLaren, which
McLaren was very close.
Well, what's near that? There's nothing.
No. I mean, in terms of distance, the distance between McLaren.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm trying to think what's near McLaren in that part of the world. But...
and McLaren to Tokyo, and the winner to Tokyo was pretty close.
I can't believe I said Faenza.
Yeah, Faenza's not even a team.
That's the what team? The Faenza F1 team.
Basically, is that? Oh, I'm just going to say places then. Here we go.
Faenza, Pembrokeshire.
Freddie, Enstone. I don't know. It's the wrong part of the country again, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I only know McLaren
no.
and Woking. I don't know anything else near that.
Nigel, I think it's Mercedes.
No.
That's in Brackley. They're all in the wrong bit. Well, I mean, Ferrari used to have a base in Guildford.
It's not Ferrari.
Yeah, exactly. And it's also they shut that in the 90s.
That's why it's not Ferrari.
Hence they used to. I have no idea.
Yeah.
Where's Brixworth? No, that's
down to like 5 now, aren't we?
I didn't check,
4
I didn't check
5.
Brixworth anyway. I just took that as Brackley. Are we back?
Trying to think there was one more.
So far there's been McLaren, AlphaTauri, Williams, Mercedes said.
Yeah, and I said Alpine as well, but that's not it.
I think it has to be the one on.
Oh, Freddie.
What?
Aston Martin?
Yeah.
No.
Oh no!
Not the headquarters of the company.
Real.
Well, I counted there from
Team base is Silverstone, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, have we said Williams?
I said Williams,
Yes.
yeah.
Oh,
Because that's Grove. I thought that was.
Have we said
I thought it was dead easy with Grove.
Alfa Romeo?
That's Switzerland, mate.
That's Switzerland.
Oh, that's my guess, isn't it? So over to you, Freddie. We've got like 2 more teams left.
Yeah.
I can't believe this. I genuinely cannot believe this.
This is quite.
Right.
I'm not gonna say it, but
This is going in our top 100 moments.
Freddie,
Yes.
Red Bull then.
yes,
Milton
Yes.
Keynes.
Milton Keynes.
yes,
Milton Keynes is closer to Tokyo than Woking is.
yes, because it's to do. Well, I assume it's to do with the curvature of the Earth. It's got more land to go over because it's a bit far south, but it is, as the crow flies, it is.
Really, in comparison to
Wow.
Grove?
Yeah.
Wow, that's
Do you
interesting.
go left to right or right to left
What?
on the globe? Like, do you go from the UK
To Tokyo.
You go over Asia.
Oh, over it. Right. Okay. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll take the point, but I hate the question.
It's a great answer, that, Freddie. It's great.
Thank you,
Yes.
Nigel. Thank you so much. Your answers were
5,900
really helpful, considering you said 2 teams that weren't.
5,900.
3 teams. You had 3 teams that weren't in
I
the
said the
UK.
3 teams
said
that weren't.
Haas.
You said
Which is-
Ferrari, to be fair.
That's which is what? I don't know. America. I don't even know where in America. The one in Switzerland, the only F1 team in Switzerland. You could have said Ferrari, then you had the set.
Oh.
Anyway, after that, it's Freddie that leads 2-1.
I've only done 3 questions. Good
So-
lord.
I know. I was thinking the same thing, believe me. It was 5,960 miles, if anyone's interested. I say, definitely not. So, Japan currently lead the medal table, or they did when I was writing this quiz about 2 or 3 hours ago. So, what's the next highest country in the medal table that has a driver on the F1 grid?
Ready? The fancy Russian Federation thing.
Yeah.
No, I didn't count them because they're not Russia, and neither is South Africa.
Oh, that's not nice, Nigel. It's got to be
What?
Great Britain.
Yeah.
No.
Oh.
Oh.
Although I will just panically check it. But yeah,
I think the Russian thing is mean, and I'm
I
going
think it
to
is as
protest
well.
and say it
They-
again. The Russian
well,
Federation.
they shouldn't have doped. It's not my fault, is it?
It's not my fault.
I'm struggling here.
I'm struggling too.
Because I've watched a lot as well, and I'm
Freddie, Germany? Because of the horse riding?
No. If you do
Okay.
one more guess, and then I'll think of a clue.
Nigel. Oh, no way. Don't worry, I'm not saying Monaco. I'm not that stupid.
I'm glad
Netherlands?
he's saying no. It's not in
They're not actually
the
on the F1
Western.
grid.
It's not in the Western Hemisphere
All right.
or Europe.
Freddie, Australia?
Oh,
Yes, Australia.
that
They've
is,
got six golds, 16 medals in total, which is the same number of medals as Britain, but one more gold. So they get it, which is happy for them.
bloody Ricardo again. That's why that answer. That's why I didn't get the point there.
Just enjoy the infectious happiness, mate.
Yeah, it's the Olympics.
Have a beer. Good call. Shrimp on the barbie.
What was the first Olympics that Hungary participated in as a country?
God.
Nigel. The
Yeah.
year or the country, like, or where?
Any. Just need to distinguish it.
Not Winter Olympics.
Oh, Freddie,
No,
1920.
just
You're taking too
Olympics.
long.
No, it's because it was
Taking
the
too
Soviet
long,
Union,
Freddie,
wasn't it? So it's got to be
1920.
19. Oh no, because they were in the Soviet Union. I don't know then. I don't know. Yeah.
Right. I'll open the guesses back up then after that. Fantastic.
Freddie.
I said Freddie 1920 twice. So is it that again, or am I wrong?
It's wrong. I'm trying to think if there were Olympics in 1920, but I think there were.
I spent 2 years after the war.
Yeah.
Nigel,
Split up the Austro-Hungarian Empire.
1952.
No.
Freddie, 1996.
No.
Oh yeah, it was called Austria-Hungary, not Hungary. So it's got to be 1992.
No. Although there were Olympics there again, but you are all late.
Obviously, we're wrong.
It's earlier than all of your guesses so far.
right.
Oh wow,
Freddie.
Even the 1921.
1900.
No.
Freddie, 1904.
No.
1896.
Yes, it was
Oh,
because
what
they
stupid
competed
question that is.
as their own
Nigel, how many of them
federation,
not
even
been?
though they were part of Austria.
We
Hungary.
spanned 100 years to get that one. Freddie is 90. And I thought
I guess
Hungary wasn't a
96, and I guess
country.
1900
Well, I was like, well,
and
okay.
1904.
You threw the Soviet Union thing into the mix.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, for goodness sake, the bloody USSR.
'Cause
My
I thought it was
here to
like called
spite me yet
Austria-Hungary.
again.
Oh, my God.
Right. How many cities in this year's F1 calendar, including the races that have been postponed or that were meant to be on the calendar but
I see where
haven't,
this is going already.
has Nigel been to? No, have hosted Winter or Summer Olympics?
Oh, God. There's 23 races, isn't there?
Yeah, Nigel, let's work
So-
together. Let's work it out.
Saudi Arabia's not one, is it? So
No, Saudi's
22.
not. Qatar's rumoured, but we don't want that because it's not an original one. There's
Well,
one
let's
to count as
actually work
Milan.
together.
It's not hosting a race or had an Olympics.
No, but then they want, aren't they bidding for it or something, or they lose it?
They've not hosted one either way.
Okay. Did Milan
Right.
count because of the Winter Olympics, or was that technically Turin? I can't remember. What would you say to that, Nigel?
No, it's
I've-
not.
Go away, Adam. We're deliberating. We're
I
working
thought that would
together.
have counted,
This
but
is a
Adam
coup.
said it. Adam says it hasn't. So we've got Beijing. No, not Beijing. What? I'm
Oh,
useless.
dear.
So what do we have?
Melbourne. That's hosted one, hasn't it? Like ages ago. I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure-
you've got to guess the number of the total number.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're
we've got
working
to work
together.
it out first. We can't just
Yeah,
guess a
but
number.
you were pointing at me going, Melbourne's one, isn't it? So
No,
that's
I'm
He's
not
pointing at
your
me.
guess.
He's pointing at me. We're talking about this. Yeah, Melbourne's one.
Oh.
So then
Pointing at me on my screen.
Sakir won't be.
Barcelona.
Barcelona.
Sochi. 3.
Yeah, Sochi Winter Olympics.
This is an interesting style because at some point the penny will drop as to what number it is.
Nigel. 3.
No.
Oh, great. We can still work it out, but the guess is in my court now. All right.
But that's what I was thinking is like work it. Well, I thought it'd go that you'd both work it out and be like, oh, so it's
well,
that.
no, because we basically wouldn't work it out. We decided that immediately.
Three.
He said, let's work it out together.
Yeah, why not? Again, a coup, bringing back the Soviet Union. What else is there?
Goodness me.
Well,
These questions are horrid.
Well, you should have watched more Olympics and known more.
Yeah, I
about
weren't
the
around in
Olympics.
18. There hasn't been a Greek.
Yeah,
Grand
I didn't
Prix,
watch the 1896 Olympics to see if Hungary took part.
Oh, were you still an infant then?
They didn't have
not
television.
Brazil.
What other countries exist, Nigel?
It's not Texas, so it's not USA. Mexico, that's one. Mexico
Ooh,
4.
Mexico
I'm on about the
City.
cities, not the country as well.
Yeah, Mexico
Oh,
City.
what? So you're
that's
counting
4.
London?
Well, I'm not counting Austin as like America.
Yeah, so London doesn't
I
count,
mean,
does it?
London
Because
won't count.
No.
Mexico's 4, though, so that's definite.
Mexico.
It's 4, isn't it?
Freddie, 4.
No.
There's a 5th
There's
one
what
in
you-
there then.
Where's the 5th then?
Oh,
Well,
is it going to be
you
Winter
can-
Olympics
you-
in the south of France? Freddie, 6.
No.
Okay, cool. It's not 6. That's good.
Paul Ricard Olympics.
Yeah, the Paul Ricard Olympics. It's basically a running track with all
Nigel
those
said-
lanes.
No.
Was there one in the Spielberg Mountains?
No, I'll give you that for free. You can both have one more guess.
Freddie, 8.
Yeah. No.
All right,
Nigel 5.
5.
Yes, it is 5.
Oh.
Montreal
What
was
was-
the elusive
Oh, yeah.
Montreal 76. Was it 76? I think it was. But
Did not
it was.
guess 5. Oh, well, maybe we didn't then.
No, both of you skipped it. And you also worked out which Olympics they were. So that was meant to be the next question, but that doesn't matter. But it is now 3-3, which is quite exciting. So the next
Swear I
question.
said 5. Oh, well.
Next question is which Olympics has motor racing appeared at?
Freddie.
Yep.
1900.
Freddie was quickest off the buzzer there. Yes, 1900. He takes a 4-3 lead.
I deserve his
Wonder
own
how
podcast,
you knew that
that
one.
story.
For the
Yeah, I told you both about it.
for the 2012 Olympics, McLaren collaborated with Team GB for some of their technologies and equipment. Can you name one sport
Nigel.
that they helped with? What?
Sailing.
Yes, that is correct.
I was going to say
4-4.
BMX.
Cycling would have.
It definitely wasn't
yeah.
football, was it?
Boots.
No, certainly was not. Okay,
Super soft boots.
going on to the final question. True
final
or
question.
false? It's 4-4. True or false?
True or
One
false is the
false.
deciding question.
False.
True.
Yes.
I say true.
False.
All right. Who's right?
Well,
We
what's
don't
the
care
question?
about the question.
Okay. Freddie wins the quiz.
Yeah.
What's the question?
It's true. No, it's fine. You didn't
Is the
care
question-
about it enough to hear.
There's
All right.
someone called Adam on the podcast. True or false?
Yeah, Nigel, you're going to look really
That would
stupid
be-
now, mate.
That will be Olympics and F1 related.
Oh, that's one of the best quizzes we've ever had.
Well, I'm glad you think like that. But Freddie is the winner, and
We
really
get a gold
none of us are
medal.
winners. But there will be a winner on Sunday for the Hungarian Grand Prix. So we hope
need
you
a gold
enjoy
medal.
that, and we will see you afterwards for the review. Bye.
Yes.
This is my gold medal. It's a Fanta, but it's close to gold.